We have another double act now with Petra Edwards and Dani Scuteri. So Dani has a background in education with a Bachelor of Education from the University of South Australia, and she's been in local government for over 17 years, 13 of which were with the City of Charles Sturt Council. And they've been spent as a project officer. She's recently been appointed as a team leader of community safety at Charles Sturt Council and leads a team of over 20 staff. And joining Dani is Petra Edwards, who has been in dog training since the age of 12, following in the footsteps of her mother, who started Adelaide Pet Dog Training. She has a Bachelor of Science majoring in animal behaviour, professional canine trainer accreditation, and is fear-free certified. She's interested in all things animal behaviour and training and has a particular interest in applied behaviour analysis in training pet dogs. So welcome to Petra and Dani, who are discussing Charles Sturt's Canine Citizens, the link between dog behaviour, dog parks and open space usability.
Okay, can everyone hear me? The mic's on? Yeah, fantastic. So hi everyone, I'm Petra, the Project Officer in Public Health and Safety at the City of Charles Sturt Council.
And I'm Dani Scuteri, the Team Leader of Community Safety at Charles Sturt. We are excited to chat to you today about a new education initiative of dog use in public spaces, as well as our journey on how we got here and the learnings along the way.
We're really keen to promote the link between animal behaviour and welfare and how these things can benefit animal management and the animal management and compliance space in local government. So we're really excited to be here. To set the scene and for a bit of context, we thought we'd give you a bit of background about Charles Sturt. So the City of Charles Sturt is located on the western side of Adelaide between the Central Business District and the beach. As one of the state's largest councils, we have a population of over 120,000 people and over 16,000 registered dogs.
The Dog and Cat Management Act of South Australia requires each council to develop a 5-year plan for the management of cats and dogs within their local area. The City of Charles Sturt's Strategic Animal Management Plan 21 to 25 identified an opportunity to investigate innovative and interactive methods to manage ongoing and new animal management issues within our city. With a focus on education, prevention and encouragement prior to resorting to enforcement, we wanted to tailor strategies to reach our residents in line with the plan's objectives. As I'm sure you have all experienced, dog ownership rates are very much on the rise, and animal management has become increasingly complex. With more housing development and dog ownership, we have not only seen an increase of complaints relating to animal management services, but also an increase in requests for dog-friendly spaces. Traditional problems experienced relating to barking, dog attacks, dog off leads in open spaces, as well as are all becoming increasingly complex. Owners sought solutions in fenced dog parks as the cure-all, instead of looking to training and better understanding their dog's behavioural needs. So the original gangster dog parks were 2 of our earlier parks, one of which was a state pioneer of dog parks, which was built in early 2007. When dog parks were expected to keep dogs busy while mum and dad had a chat to their friends at the picnic table. These 2 dog parks were your traditional dog parks that had everything that you would expect to see there, but nothing really special for your dog. One of the unexpected issues of these parks was that regular attendees tried to police the dog parks themselves by disallowing smaller or shyer dogs from attending the perceived play.
So we recognise that dog behavioural needs are much more complex than that. We know that dogs' social needs change as they age. Young pups can be really social. They like to meet new dogs, they like to make friends, they love to play with other dogs. And they're really good with different types of play as well, often. But as they age, they prefer the company of a few solid friends, just like us. The other concern is that allowing dogs to practice unregulated, uncontrolled, uninterrupted play for any length of time might actually negatively impact their behaviour outside of the dog park. We know that practice makes perfect. So when dogs get to practice going crazy, when they get to practice just completely letting rip at the dog park for any length of time, they're getting better at being distracted, they're getting better at being hyper-excited and potentially not responding to cues that their parents are giving them. And that's, of course, only if the play occurring is actually appropriate and safe and everyone's having a good time. And every dog park patrol I've ever done has almost shown the opposite. There's many dogs in that park that are potentially showing signs that they're not enjoying themselves. And if play is inappropriate or unsafe, then those dogs are learning negative associations with those interactions with other dogs or with their people or with those public spaces, which is obviously the opposite of what we're after.
So with all of that in mind, we decided to try something different. We looked at the Dog and Cat Management Boards Unleashed and grew our ideas from there with the help of our qualified trainers in our beach education team. These new spaces removed the agility equipment, which was unsafe for most unprofessional athletes, and introduced places to sniff and hide, parts to encourage parents walking and keeping play safer, different surfaces and heights to help hold scent differently, and useful information about dog play and dog behaviour.
So from there, we developed a new generation of dog education. And we partnered with Lily Chin, who some of you may have heard of before. She's an incredible animal behaviour specific graphic designer based in the US. She helped us create these amazing dog park etiquette signs that we now have in all of our dog parks. You can see these images in more detail if you're interested via the animal management kit, which I've got a QR code link for here, and it will also be available in our paper presentation. So this is just one of the images that we have. Does your dog want to be here? And if they're showing these signs of play and interaction, then the answer is yes, with some information that gives pet owners a bit more background about why that's the case. Does your dog want to be here? The answer is no, if they're showing these types of behavioural indicators, this type of play, and then some opportunities to try some different things to help those dogs calm down. Is your dog a nervous Nelly? And what that might look like and what you can do if you notice that that's the case. And is your dog a pushy Polly? That over-friendly dog that probably can't read the signs very well. And again, what that might look like and what you can do to help change things up if you need to.
So this was our first dog park with the dog in mind and had two different areas, one for active play and one for calmer interactions and exploration for perhaps those younger or shyer dogs or older dogs who wanted some extra space.
And we should add here as well that this is the first one that we've done that instead of that large dog, small dog, that really traditional space separation, we decided to go this way because we recognise that dogs have different play styles and they have different ways that they want to interact with each other. So we've attempted to facilitate that through this park. And this is our sensational sniff space, the sensory garden. So this is a space we're really proud of. It's the first space in South Australia that we're aware of that's been specifically built to let dogs sniff. We'll let the video do the talking for you. If we can play that, please. We've set this up so dogs can have a really, really good sniff around. There's a lot of planted trees and shrubs and herbs that are very safe for dogs. Sniffing is a very important part of dog behaviour. Very, very natural for them to have a really good sniff. They have a huge proportion of their brain, much, much bigger than ours, devoted to sorting out scent. They can tell where the scent is based on which nostril it hits first, which is really cool. A research study came out last year that attached heart rate monitors to dogs while they were sniffing, and they found that while the dogs were sniffing, their heart rate decreased, which is a sign that it's a really calming behaviour for dogs to perform. This park specifically is for dogs that want to explore. This is for calm interactions. So this is the park you come to if you have a puppy, fully vaccinated puppy that can't do long walks, for an older dog that just wants to explore off lead, if you have a dog that's kind of recovering from surgery. One of the other cool things about scent is that it can be exhausting for dogs. So they have to mentally process and catalogue all the different scents that they're getting, which means that it's very tiring for them to do. So you might find that a good 10 or 15 minute wander through the sensory space here is equivalent to a good 30-minute run. And as you can see, Gwen's been here for only just maybe 10 minutes. She's had a really good explore, really good sniff, and she is shattered. So she'll sleep very well tonight, which we're very happy with. So the research around sniffing and heart rate and all of that sort of stuff is not well established. There is some more research being done by Dr. Susan Hazel and her PhD student Jade Fountain. So watch this space, because I'm sure there's going to be useful information coming out there.
Now, this is the latest and greatest, and how proud is Molly up there, who got a sneak peek before we actually opened the park. Semaphore Park has an active space for chasers and wrestlers with lots of safe spaces to move around, duck and run. And it also has a large sniff space attached to it for those dogs who don't want to play, or those dogs who just want to have a calm down after a rough play, some relaxation. Now, we are currently working on an exciting website design and interactive platform to help pet owners match their dog's needs with an appropriate dog-friendly open space suitable for their dog's behaviour and social needs. We hope that this new initiative helps Charles Sturt Canine citizens feel more included.
So what does it actually look like? So we're asking our pet parents to look at their dog's behaviour and body language and let that guide them in choosing the right type of shared public space that is suitable for their dog. So often at the dog park, you'll see a large proportion of dogs who choose to sniff and explore by themselves rather than interact with others. You might see obsessive chasing, wrestling, nipping play that is unrelenting and unregulated and probably not fully enjoyed to its best effect by both parties. And other dogs are so hyper-focused on chasing a ball that they don't even realise they're at the dog park. Remember, dogs are social beings and they do enjoy companionship, but they don't need to be social butterflies to be living their best lives. The domestication process has changed the course of their natural evolution. Their brains are hardwired to want to spend time with us, to enjoy our companionship, and in many cases, probably more so than that of other dogs. So we're asking our pet parents, our residents, to look at what their dog is doing when they're out. How comfortable, confident, relaxed is that dog around other dogs? And what are they doing when they have the choice to interact with other dogs? Are they choosing to interact? Is that interaction safe and happy? Or is it giving you other information? So as part of this, we're introducing this idea of the dog sociability spectrum. And I want to be really clear here, this isn't our idea. There's a few great infographics and blog posts that are really blog posts by trainers that are well respected around the place. We've taken the idea. So I don't know if you've come across it before. I'm not aware of the first person that kind of coined it in these categories. I also want to emphasise here that there isn't really any scientific or peer-reviewed literature out there to support this claim or these proportions that we're going to talk about today. This is just based on anecdotal evidence that seems to be really well established in the dog training community. So we've put the labels of introversion and extroversion up there on the slides to help provide a label that's easy for us to relate to as humans. But of course, we've got to be really careful whenever we anthropomorphise. We know that dogs aren't humans. And so we also know that the research doesn't really think about dog personality in that introversion, extroversion way. It's more shy and bold when you look at behaviour research. But for our purposes of this conversation, we think it can be really useful to help us relate. And if you're a little bit more introverted like me, I hope it might help you empathise with dogs that are also introverted, that are forced into social interactions against their will. So not all dogs are social, confident dogs. In fact, while I think the public probably assume the majority of dogs are highly social, in fact, the reality is probably the opposite. I often think a dog park must be like being the only sober person at a pub, where you walk in, with really well-intentioned, that you're going to be social this time, and then you just get swamped by really drunk, loud, rude, inappropriate people that invade your personal space. So seriously, like, many dogs aren't highly social. If if this is the normal bell curve of dog sociability, you can see that highly social and completely unsocial dogs are at the very extreme ends of that spectrum. And then we have tolerant and selective dogs in the middle. And most dogs are tolerant or selective with who they want to interact with, but of course these things can change over the course of a dog's life or depending on their experiences. And if we can help our dog owners identify what type of dog they have and what type of dog they have and what their social needs are, we can help highlight the shared public spaces that are going to be more suitable for those dogs. So, at one extreme end of the spectrum, we have highly social dogs. These are confident, well-socialised, friendly dogs that love the company of any dog they meet. Every dog is a potential friend. They just don't know it yet. Think Labrador, Golden Retriever, Chihuahua, German Shepherd. No, I'm joking about those. So they have great body language. They can adapt to different play styles. They're able to self-regulate their emotions really well. They'll play for a long time. They'll come back feeling calmer and content. These types of dogs are really well suited to dog parks. They love them. But remember, they might only make up 5 to 10% of our dog-owning population. They're rare. They're the unicorns of the dog world. These types of dogs are well suited for our unfenced, off-lead reserves, as long as they're under effective control, and to play off-lead or on-lead on our foreshores as well. These dogs, I wouldn't say are puppies. While puppies can be highly social, anything under 6 months, they're at such a critical stage in their development that things can go wrong really quickly if that play is not well supervised and managed carefully. We have our socially tolerant dogs. They're generally outgoing and confident in most situations. They're happy approaching and playing with lots of different types of dogs. They tolerate a lot of different types of play, but they also have a threshold at which that play they've had enough. That becomes too much. They might prefer to cut obnoxious or pushy or over-friendly play off rather than keep interacting with that dog. And their tolerance shouldn't be taken for granted. So tolerant dogs are really, really common at a dog park. We keep putting them back in those social situations. But we shouldn't take it for granted because how many negative experiences does that dog need to have before it starts to change how they perceive their environment or other dogs? These dogs might take themselves away after a brief play or could potentially snap or bark at dogs that don't read between the lines well. These dogs are generally better suited to a dog park at a quiet time or with a familiar group of dogs, larger off-lead reserves or the foreshore where there's lots of space for them to be able to get away and explore if they need that break. Socially selective dogs are dogs I relate to very well. So they have a few great friends, but they don't necessarily enjoy large, loud parties with lots of strangers. They'd prefer to be left to their own devices when off-lead or in other settings. They tolerate the presence of others, and they can be civil if they're given the space, but are very selective about who they want to interact with. And I believe a larger proportion of older dogs are likely to be socially selective because it is very normal for dogs' play preferences to change as they age. And dogs experiencing pain from arthritis or recovering from surgery, or maybe that are vulnerable, they're deaf or blind, might also be more likely to be socially selective. These types of dogs are great in empty dog parks, with scheduled play dates with their best friends, our sniff spaces, larger reserves, preferably on lead to help manage the situation, or our foreshore during those on-lead times, our on-lead times between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. And we have our solitary dogs, which are much more aloof and reclusive. They don't want to meet new and unfamiliar dogs at all. They are comfortable existing with their inner circle, most likely people. They might hide from dogs that approach or bark or lunge at them on lead. Now remember, and Jim spoke to it beautifully earlier, aggression is a distance increasing behaviour. The reason dogs are growling or barking or showing those behavioural signs that can lead to aggression is because they want space. They want to increase the distance between themselves and the scary thing. So some dogs are solitary dogs just because that's what they prefer, and others, probably more commonly, are solitary because due to a lack of safe or appropriate socialisation or negative or traumatic experiences. And the spaces that these dogs are best suited for are dependent on that dog's comfort zone on the day. So how close can they be to other dogs before they feel unsafe and they might begin to react? In some cases, these dogs could be really, really well suited to an empty dog park that has 2 entries and exits, so they can get out of one if someone else arrives. But they also might be more useful, better suited to our on-lead spaces or our foreshore during on-lead times. For other dogs that can't stand the sight of another dog, regardless of the space, perhaps the private dog parks that you can book and make sure no one else is going to arrive are better suited for those. And of course, depending on the severity, we would recommend that the owners of these dogs seek further training and behaviour advice. In all of these examples, our owners should be providing quality companionship every single day with these dogs, with themselves as well. It's not just using other dogs to provide that dog's social needs. Quality time is not a walk where a dog spends a lot of time chasing a tennis ball, but it's training with positive reinforcement. It's exploring together, watching a movie together, chasing, wrestling, all of that sort of really fun stuff. We also plan for our website to have information on dangerous dogs and what they look like, because there's not much information out there on that. The YOLO Dog Project, which is a community awareness initiative to help dog owners identify what their dog's needs are and what appropriate socialisation looks like.
So we are really hoping that these new initiatives and continuing to evolve in how we tackle animal management concerns by our community will result in better community understanding of their dog's social, emotional and behavioural needs. This in turn will aid in the reduction of dog attacks and overall community concerns relating to animal behaviour within our community. Here's hoping. Empowering dog owners to make informed and positive decisions to better suit their dog's needs is a key driver in our animal management plan, and these initiatives work towards this aim by creating an easily accessible platform of education with easy to understand interactive resources with both the dog and the dog owner in mind. We know that all dog owners want to do what's right by their dog, and these platforms allow for practical solutions to complex and sometimes frustrating community concerns. Thank you.